became just the fourth team to force a series into Game 7 while down 3-0, but there's still history to be made as no team has ever come back 3-0 and won a series. Perk, will the Celtics make history and come back from an 0-3 deficit?
Molly, I would say yes. And I'm not comfortable with saying that. But listen, I believe the Garden. I know the Garden is going to be rocking tonight. And I believe the Celtics will thrive and win this game. And I believe role players will play better tonight at home. I think you will get more out of Grant Williams. You couldn't ask for more out of Derek White. And I think this is Jason Tatum moment. But I will say this. This will be a dogfight. If anybody think that this is going to be a blowout or a smackdown or a spanking, it's not going to be either one of those. The Miami Heat are going to come in here and compete. And this is the same situation, just a different court from last year. Jimmy Butler is going to be more aggressive, but I do think the Celtics will pull this one out tonight. I'm not comfortable saying that, and they have given me reasons why, but I believe they will pull it out.
Yeah, listen, I think I'm with Perk. I think Boston's going to win the game. You know, confidence meter. I said 6 earlier on Get Up. I think I walked across the hallway. It's at 6.5 now, maybe 7.
What got you
Yeah.
used?
So it's inching up a little bit. I just, look, it comes down to this for me, and I've been saying it repeatedly. I just think Boston is better, and they have more guys that I think could make an impact. Because when you talk about a Game 7, I agree with Perk. I think it's going to be a close game. I think it's going to be a fairly low-scoring game. This won't be a shootout. You need to have just a couple of guys give you 12, 15, right? Make a couple of key shots when you need to. And I just think Boston has more guys that I trust to be able to do that than Miami does. The thing that Miami has to resist is taking that huge gut punch of adrenaline, whether it's early in the game or as Philly got caught with it in a Game 7, to come out of the locker room to start the second half. Now, Philly is not a mentally tough team, right? And they just folded 10 when they got hit with that. That's not going to happen to the Heat. That's not going to happen to a team with Jimmy Butler on it, with Eric Spoelstra coaching them. That team is not going to go away. They just can't get hit with a barrage of threes. That's the biggest thing for me. The numbers to look at tonight are the differential at the three-point line and the differential at the free throw line. Miami has to be within striking distance in both of those categories, and if they can do that, then you put the ball in the hands of Jimmy Butler late, you've got a great chance if you're in a one-possession game. But ultimately, I just trust more guys on Boston's team. And it's not just about Tatum or Jimmy Butler. I think both of those guys can play well tonight. It's the other dudes. It's the Derek Whites and the Marcus Smarts of the world. It's Jaylen Brown, potentially. Maybe he has his best game of the series tonight. So I just think ultimately Boston will get this done and finish off something historic.
Molly, I just want to point out a year ago in this same conference finals round, the Celtics won a game down in Miami, Game 6 in this case, and Jimmy Butler looked, it was Game 5. Jimmy Butler looked terrible. His knee was bothering him. I thought there was no way that the Heat were coming up here to Boston and winning. And then Jimmy Butler put on one of the great playoff performances I've ever seen in person. I think he had 47, including 17 in the fourth quarter, to keep the series alive and take it back to Miami. So I would just say that even though everything looks like it's going in the Celtics' favor, counting out Jimmy Butler is a mistake. We've seen him have his incredible games over the last couple of postseasons, especially on the road. We saw him do it in Milwaukee earlier this season. And while the Celtics do have a remarkable Game 7 record, this is, believe it or not, their fourth Game 7 in the last two postseasons, and they are 3-0 in the other ones that they've played. The Miami Heat have faced down adversity and bounced back repeatedly throughout this season, including in the play-in round, which I know feels like a long time ago, but in the play-in round, they were facing elimination, and they were in big trouble in the fourth quarter of that game, and they came back and won it. And so, as Legs points out, in Game 5, the last game played here in Boston, you remember the Celtics absolutely hit a knockout punch in the first quarter. They had all those threes. They had all that emotion. Eric Spoelstra had to keep calling timeouts. They were never in the game. The Heat's goal has got to keep this within 10 points going to the fourth quarter. Because one thing that we know is that Boston has a bit of a checkered history in handling pressure, even when they're ahead late in games. And the Heat have been very good at that. If this is a game going into the fourth quarter, the Heat are going to have a fighting chance. Jimmy Butler's going to have a chance. That should be their goal, and that, frankly, is what I'm expecting.
Wendy, sometimes I have to give people a friendly reminder, even my good brothers like yourself. I know you don't make predictions, but damn it, this is First Take. And I still don't know if you answered the question. Will the Celtics complete a historic comeback? I need to know. Do you have them winning or not?
Perk, I think the Celtics are absolutely the favorite. But I am telling you, this is a wonky series.
He's picking Miami. Okay, let me tell you, this is what I deduce.
If you count the Heat out, it's a mistake.
Okay, this is what I
count the Heat out, it's a mistake.
First of all, Perk, I need you every day because you're like the First Take police for me, and you just go after folks. You'll just attack. You keep them in line. Second of all, that is Wendy's professional way of saying he's picking Jimmy Butler in the Heat. That's just what I take from it.
I'm not picking anybody.
Okay. All right, that's what I took from it. We know what assuming does. All right, let me ask you this. Perk, do you think this could be the last time we see that duo of Brown and Tatum?
Yeah, if they lose. Matter of fact, let me say this.
Okay.
Just because they win this series, if they don't go on to complete the mission and win the NBA championship, that's the deciding factor too. This is not about just getting back to the finals. They did that last year. If Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum don't get to the finals and complete the mission, yes, I believe this year will be the last time we will see those guys together. I don't give a damn what they say. Because if you're the Boston Celtics and you're the front office, you're looking at a duo. Yes, I know they're young, but they have been to multiple conference finals. This will make 2 NBA finals appearances. And now you're actually the veteran team that's going to be walking into the finals. And if you don't go and complete the mission against the Denver Nuggets with having home court advantage, I believe this will be the last time we will see those two together.
Yeah, look, I think Perk's on to something here. I don't know necessarily that 100% definitively, yeah, they're going to get rid of Jaylen Brown or they're going to split these two guys up. But I think they're going to look harder at it than they ever have if they fail to make this. And one of the reasons is because I think their greatness is independent of each other, right? When you watch them play, it's like they are not doing things really working in tandem on the court. That's not really the way the nature of their game operates. These are guys that sort of do their thing on given nights. And look, at some nights they play well on the same night. Many nights they do that. But it's not really as if their skill sets complement each other. And I think that's what they're going to look hard at. Do you build a team differently around the skill set of Jason Tatum, knowing the haul that you could get back for a guy like Jaylen Brown? So I think this is something they're going to look harder at than they ever have if they fail to reach their goal, whether they lose tonight or, as Perk said, they win this game, they go on and lose to the Denver Nuggets and don't complete the mission of winning a championship. You're going to see them absolutely picking that phone up and trying to figure out, is there a way to make this team a more viable championship contender around Jason Tatum? I think that is a legitimate point.
I disagree. I think that these two guys can absolutely win a championship together, whether it happens this year or not. And I think this offseason, and talking to both sides, I think there's a very good chance that the Celtics are going to sign Jaylen Brown to a contract extension that is going to hit around the $290 million mark. And the real challenge will come in 2 years when Jason Tatum gets his own $300 million extension, because he is on pace to do that. When you have to decide to have them both on the payroll at those numbers, that's when I think the Celtics are going to have to make their choice. I think in the short term, they believe in these guys, even if they don't get it done this year. It's too hard to find players this age, of this caliber at both ends of the court, even if they're not a perfect fit. I think this partnership absolutely continues. Maybe not for 7 years, but I think I feel very good about them keeping Jaylen Brown and them playing together next year. Then maybe we'll see, because then Tatum has to sign it. But I think they're staying together.
Well, Wendy, let me ask you this, okay? If they don't complete the mission and you have a Portland Trailblazer team come knocking at the door in some kind of way, you can figure out how to do a sign and trade, meaning the Celtics extend Jaylen Brown and trade for, Damian Lillard. Are you not taking that? Now, Wendy, let me remind you, right, as a guy that spent 8.5 years there, right, the Celtic fan base is built on now, meaning they are all about championships and completing the mission. That growing and going through growing pains, I believe they have done that already. At some point, no matter how old they are, they have to complete it. And I want to ask you, if you're the Celtics, do you turn that down? If you got an opportunity to actually make a trade like that and acquire Damian Lillard and get him to Boston alongside of Jason Tatum, a guy that's in the middle of his prime.
I think it's a